Was a Friday, my darling. Weekend was zifikile. It's time for us on a Friday to talk motoring aspects with our special guest and our motoring expert, Sagi Woodley. Hey, Sags, nice to have you with us in the studio again.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. You were saying was a weekend. I was almost going to say Puza weekend. Then I realized you're not allowed to Puza and drive. You're allowed no Puza and driving.
Siggy, an important aspect of motor vehicles, and one I think that we neglect, and it's the easiest one to actually see because you see them every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to ask you the question because you will give the right answer to this. I'm going to ask you the question. When you get into your car in the morning, do you first walk around and take a look at the tires?
Ouch.
I bet you don't, because I can tell you something, I don't either.
Yeah.
But it's one of the things that we should be doing.
Okay, before we go any further, just hold out your palm. Now, take 4 of the size areas, and that's all that's keeping you on the road. Is that scary or what?
Okay, yeah, because the tire is turning, obviously.
Yes,
so
that is the only... Yes.
4 times that is what is keeping your traction
on the road.
That is scary.
So now if that doesn't scare you into looking at your tires every morning, nothing will. So that is all the area you putting down power, you putting power through is just those 4 areas. That's 4 times that. So is that are you rethinking how you're going to be driving now?
Absolutely.
You're rethinking how you're driving now.
But see, the thing is that with tires, and I know this, I'm in exactly the same position. A mate of mine is in the motor vehicle industry.
Yeah.
My brother's actually in the tire industry. And
that's why he's making money.
But my mate said to me, he looked at the tires on our one vehicle and he said, oh, you need to get these front tires changed. They're looking a little bit thin. And I had just had the tires rotated
back to front.
And my brother at the time said to me, I said, how much more time have I got left on these tires? And he said, about 7, maybe 8,000
8,000 Ks, yeah.
And it hasn't done 8,000 Ks. But my mate, having said that, the first thing I'm doing next week is I'm taking it to my brother to say, take a look at this.
And the reason for that is, Jerome, is there's a couple of things as owners, car owners, we neglect. Every time you jump into your car in the morning, you're not filling petrol every day. So you never really bother about the tire pressures. It's only when you get to the garage, and that too, if you have time, you say to the guy, okay, check my tire pressures. Otherwise, you never do. And that's about as important as checking oil, water, and fuel. That's as important, if not more so, because tire pressures impact on everything, impact on your fuel consumption, on your road handling, your safety, or how the car handles on the road, how safe it is on the road, whether you're going to make it from point A to B because your tires are flat, or running, or you're losing pressure, you could have a blowout on the road. So tires, tire pressures, measuring your tread depth. Now that is what you're talking about, and anybody can do it. When someone takes a look at your tire and says, you need new tires, all you have to do these days on a modern tire is have a look at the wear limit that they've built into the tire. It's a little rubber bump in the groove of the tire that if it's level with your tread, it's time to have your tires changed. Or if you don't have that on your tires, just take a matchstick, use the head of the matchstick. That's the easiest, and slip it in the groove. If the matchstick head is sticking above the thread pattern, have those tires replaced because you're out of tire.
Okay.
And those grooves on the tires are there for a reason.
Yeah.
And the reason being, it disperses water in rain and rainy season's coming up. It disperses water, so it keeps, like I said, this little bit of tire firmly on the road so you don't hydroplane and things like that.
I like the matchstick thing. It's because
It's
because
basic.
it's just so
It's
simple.
It's a simple thing. You don't
Yeah.
need a depth gauge. You don't need to go to a tire place and ask them to measure the tire. You just take a matchstick, stick it in your tire. Oh no, there's plenty tire thread here. Or even better is that bubble that's a little rubber a bump that's built into the groove of the tire. All modern tires have it.
Okay, I've never ever seen that.
Yeah, but you've never ever looked
Look
at your
for it.
tires as well, you know?
Yes, Siggy, stop sounding like my mother.
Yeah, you never looked at the tires. And you know, the one thing we never do, and this is after we nick a paving or something, is step out the car and just have a look at the tire wall. If it has a bump, Jerome, replace the tire. It means that tire is finished. It's done. It's damaged on the inside.
Now, before we started talking, you alluded to something which sounded pretty scary to me about tires and insurance, and warranties, and that sort of thing.
The tire and a good tire on your car saves you from not losing your warranty on your motor vehicle. And let me, you'd say why?
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
why would you lose
Why
your
would
warranty?
you lose your
because of
warranty?
tire?
Okay, on the modern car, tire size and the wear limit on the tire is very important because a lot of modern vehicles run so precisely that the tire size affects the gear change and the diff ratios. So when you get a gear sign coming up on your car, on your dash, that says gearbox fault or something like that, and you take it to the dealership and say, oh, my car's on a warranty, and they come back to you and say, yes, sir, you've lost the warranty because you have 3 different size tires on your motor vehicle. Believe you me, tire size and the correct tire size for your vehicle is ultimately important. You know, and that's just the warranty. Insurance companies will repudiate any claim if your tires are not roadworthy. Any claim. You bumped a guy you knocked the wall, but because your tires are not new or don't have sufficient tread life,
They can
turn. It's legal for them to repudiate that claim.
Jeepers.
You can lose a 50 grand claim because you didn't put 10 grand tires on your car.
That was the next thing I was going to ask you, though, because, I mean, the price of tires.
Yes. It makes you not want to change your tires, okay? But I'm hoping that you do without that expensive bottle of whiskey or those bottles of wine or that 30 packets of smokes in a month and do tires instead. You know, I'm hoping to change that mindset, Jerome. And yes, tires are very expensive, but are you prepared to lose your life, or are you prepared to get into a serious accident purely because you didn't put a good set of tires on? You know, like you wouldn't walk around with a bad pair of shoes. Same thing. Your tires are the shoes on your motor vehicle. Why would you do that? You know, so tires are ultimately important. Yes, even more so because you can have a fine car, you can have a fine running engine, but if you don't have the tires that you can put the power through, you're wasting your time and money.
On that note, we'll leave it. Siggy Woodley, thank you very much for your time.
And as usual, Jerome, thank you for having me.
We'll be back next Friday with more motoring inserts. motoring@mansfieldtoday.com is the email address. If you've got any questions or if you've got any suggestions of shows you'd like us to put together to answer some of your questions that you may have. Until next time, cheery bye.